Welcome back. Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and today I have another installment of my insane knife collection, part 7. This will probably be the last one, and then I may do the budget ones later down the road. So let's get into it. This is an Apache case 3800, the Harbor Freight Special. I got this a long time ago. It's not the best. It's a little flimsy, but here we go. We got a lot, so let's get into it. First up, we have the Kaiser Theta. This is an Elijah Isham design, S35 in steel, stone wash blade. The handle is just awkward. It feels a little funny, at least for my hands. I like the overall aesthetics of the knife, but other than that, that's about it. All right, next up, we have one from Spyderco. That is a Spyderco Tenacious Lightweight in S35V in steel. If you hadn't seen my review of this, go check it out. I was so impressed with this knife. It performed outstanding, held an edge great, and was a great slicer, comfortable in hand. I think for like $100, I think it's an excellent deal if you like the aesthetics of the knife. All right, next up we have the Orion knives Solaris. Yeah, you can see mine get some use. This is designed by one of our own in the community, Mr. Blade Banter. Super nice guy. Excellent fidgety action on this knife. That button lock is super smooth. Great action. And it's a pretty decent slicer. 14C28N blade steel. One of my favorite budget steels. Love that choke up position as well. I think he's doing another run for a mini version of this, if you missed out on that one. All right, next up we have the Buck Mayo North Shore, model 173. This is the cheaper version in stainless steel or aluminum, one of the two, contoured liner lock, 428C, that takes a wicked sharp polish and takes a screaming sharp edge. Oof. Awesome little knife. I think I picked it up at a gun knife show for like $40. I used to have the titanium variants of this, but like an idiot, I sold them off. I have the smaller Wyoming or whatever with titanium scales, and this one left. All right, next up we have the Spartan Blades Talos. I really wanted to like this knife. I sent one back because it had some issues. Got this one in. This is their overseas produced knives. This one's an XHP steel. I love the ergonomics of it. It's comfortable, but this is the new one, and it has lock rock, and it has the action's not the best on mine. I can flick it out, but that's about it. This is the one I just can't recommend. Next up, we have the Civivi Ortis in twill carbon fiber and Damascus blade. The Ortis is an excellent knife, especially in the more budget-friendly version. I don't really like the look. It's a black wash, they said. Damascus, I don't think it looks that great. Mine's really splotchy. But it does slice outstanding, comfortable in hand, and I think it's a very attractive looking knife. Here's an oldie but a goodie. This is the Kershaw Mini Cyclone. Basically, it's a double action. As you can see, I can close it up, open it up, and there's a little button right here. It says on and off. Flip that to the on position, and oh, nope. You got to flip it up whenever it's open. I'm sorry. Flip it. Yep. Now you got spring tension. I can show you. So there you go. Very cool. This was in the height of when spring assists were all the rave, and it was cool that they made something that you can, turn it off if you wanted to. All right, next up is one of my slip joints, the Tuya Tortuga, I think it is, designed by Andy Thiel. Very nice. This was the second one. He did the Blackbeard as well. This one has a hand rub satin blade. Very attractive. Wish they would have used better micarta, carbon fiber bolsters, wire pocket clip. fairly comfortable in hand. Great slicer, cool slip joint. All right, next up we have the Spyderco Urban Sprint Run in AEBL. They did a great job on this one. I like the Urban, nice compact size, great slicer. That AEBL takes a very, very screaming sharp edge. Ooh, yeah. It's a slip joint, or they slip it lightweight because of the FRN scales. It's got a half stop, wire pocket clip. Awesome. Next up is the Kubi Knives Barracuda. This is a Parson Blade Works design. I love the Barracuda, probably one of my favorite Kubis to date, or at least my favorite premium Kubi. It's a front flipper, liner lock, titanium liner lock, titanium pocket clip, S30V steel, and I think these have come down to, I think, $150, and I think that's an excellent bargain or an excellent deal. Slice is great, held a great edge. If you hadn't seen my review of this one, go check it out. Titanium hardware and titanium backspacer are all been anodized same color. Very smooth action, riding on bearings, comfortable in hand. And it's in that medium to smaller range. All right, next up we have a chop mod, the Knives Minotaur. This is one of my chop mods. I shortened the blade, made it a kind of like a sheep's foot, added titanium thumb studs, and I did my anodizing finish to the pocket clip, the backspacer, and I moved the pocket clip down and added this, I forgot which one, I think it's to the the Falcon, the drop Falcon. All right, next up we have a Boker. This is a Boker Lancer, Serge Panchenko collaboration. This was one of the either mess ups, or I forgot what happened, but these were supposed to be originally in 440C, but the first run were in, where is it at? S35 VN steel, if you can see that. Nice and smooth action. You can also use this top part to front flip it. I like the overall aesthetics of the knife, but I got a little bit of lock rock. The lock feels very flimsy, and that used to be, very common for Boker. They seem to be getting it together, so we will see. Next up is the Axial Gear Shift out the front in 20 CV. This is a two-toned. Supposedly these are all made in the U.S. If that is the case, I think this is an awesome deal, because you can get the 20 CV version for $229, which compared to its competitors, I think it's a good, very good deal. It held an edge just fine. It fires excellent, and I haven't had a fail on it yet. So there you go, Axial Gear Shift. Next up is the Best Tech Emperor. One of their first, first run of knives, where they still had the name of the knife on the blade, S35 VN. I just always loved the way that looked, and I ended up doing my anodizing finish on it, and I thought it looked pretty good at the time. Very, very smooth action, and you can also use that sometimes I can use that fuller right there to flip it, but right now, just can't. Next up, we have the QSP Hawk in S35 VN and wood scales. This is it's a really good little knife. Comes down to a nice thin edge and slices like nobody's business. Flipper tab isn't the most comfortable the way it's designed, but it's okay. I use the thumb studs more often than not. Deep carry pocket clip, right hand tip up only though. That is the QSP Hawk. All right, next up we have the DPX Gear Hest. This is a pile of junk. Let's see. I got rid of it for the most part because I carbonized the lock face, and let's see. No, I just carbonized the lock face on it. But This titanium is so soft. I mean, you can see how far it's moved over. It is so soft that even with the carbonization, it wants to kind of gall the titanium, which is insane. Not to mention, it's super thick behind the edge. I always loved the overall aesthetic of the knife. I thought it looked really cool. D2 blade steel, that's another thing. It was pretty pricey for a D2 knife. Comfortable in hand though, and overall, I just say pass on this particular version of it. Next up, we have the Drop.com Falcon. This is a, there you go, S35VN Ferrum Forge design. Nice choke up position right there, super comfortable. And I think these were super popular for them. I don't know if you can still get them or not, but good action. I know they were plagued with problems in the beginning. This is a pretty good example of one. All right, we have next up the Knives Banter, designed by Mr. Ben Peterson. He used to work for Blade HQ. The what is up, guys? I added this Best Tech titanium puck clip to it. This one is in, let's see, S35VN. Just a simple, comfortable EDC blade, and not too expensive either. All right, next up we have the HSK Machine Works Lanny's clip. I put this quick stud on there so I could open it one-handed. I love the overall aesthetics. I think the Lanny's is probably my favorite aesthetically to look at as far as knife designs go. Nice micarta scales on there. I think he still has some of these available on the site if you were interested. They were made for him by Concept Knives. M390 blade steel. It's a good slicer, and if you're into modern traditionals, then here you go. Next up, an awesome more budget side knife. This is the Arcona Knives Nettle F. You have this multi-layered micarta, contoured scales. This is an Ivan Braganitz design. It's in, let's see, can you see that? K110 blade steel. The action on this thing is phenomenal. I hope they do another one of these because I think more people should be able to experience this knife. Super good action, front flipper. I can use that hole to open it. See, I don't think I could. No, I can't really front flip it with it, but I can use it for thumb deployment. Easy access to that lock bar. Just a joy to fidget around with and use because it's a good slicer as well. That is the Arcona Nettle F. Deep carry. Left or right hand carry. Tip up only. All right, next up we have, this is the Ontario Quarter Squared with my anno finish that I just put some Earl on there, and I did a whole bunch of mods. This was gifted to me by a generous subscriber. I reworked the blade. I crowned the spine on it. I did my anno finish to the knife. I drilled it and added some thumb studs to it. Talk about hard to find thumb studs to fit this big old chunk of steel. It's very smooth now. The detent isn't the best on it. Let's see. I can get it to flip, but I can get it to fail pretty easy as well. See, there you go. But I'll tell you, it feels much more comfortable in hand. It was one big hot spot when I got it, but I softened all the edges. I contoured it more, knocked off any points they had on it. They had a point here, 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 here. All these were points that gave hot spots. I also added the holes in here. Just one that I wanted to play around with, and you know, I'll see. I might probably add this to one of my next giveaways or something. That is a Ontario Quarter Square. This is a beefy knife. Next up, we have the Ferrum Forge Stinger. This is by far one of the best bang for the bucks EDC folding knives. You got a nice thin profile, thinly ground blade of a Nitro V steel. Very smooth action, deep carry pocket clip, comfortable ergos. You can choke up on it. What's there not to love? I think it was like 90 bucks for this. I think that is an excellent deal for what you're getting. You got the Ferrum Forge pivot right there. Now it is tip up, right hand carry only though. So sorry about that, lefties. You could definitely use it left-handed though. You can also use these fullers to spotty flick it. Most of the time I can't, depending on how the detent is on yours. Next up, we have the Concept Knives Warrior prototype. This is a more budget-friendly version. This is one of their original releases in the beginning, and now they I guess are coming out with this budget form. I don't even know what steel it was. I did review this one and the other two they sent me. This layered G10 with like a tire tread pattern on there, aluminum bolster, stainless steel liner lock, very smooth action. Thumb stud deployer, which I love, and I like that blade shape overall. Cool knife, just depending on what they come in at. I think I swapped clips with one of the other knives to this one because the other one gave me a bad hot spot. So hopefully they'll see that whenever they do it. Next up, we have the Sandra Knives Torino. It's an ugly duckling, but I didn't buy it because of the way it looked. I bought it to just be like a user in my shop, or in my garage where I'm doing these videos, or wherever around the house. It sits in a drawer at the house most of the time. What's cool about this knife, the blade's made of tungsten carbide, so it's super hard, and technically could hardly ever have to be sharpened. It keeps the toothy edge for a really long time. Very high HRC on this one. Very thinly ground, even though you have this small little bevel right there. It still cuts pretty well. Then, as you can see just now, I unlocked it from back here. That is, they're calling it their Recoil Lock. This right here, you just pull it back and the blade drops, so it's on bearings. Nice action on this knife. Titanium thumb studs and titanium pocket clip, which is absolutely hideous. They came out with another version with carbon fiber, and I think they did a better finish to the blade because a lot of people complained about how sloppy this looks. It's like just a scratched finish. Looks like it got scratched on the seam and somebody just went but you get it as the Sandra Knives Torino. Next up, we have the Kershaw Blur. This is an oldie but a goodie. This is a Hall of Famer blade, in my opinion. Ken Onion design. It comes with the speed assist, but I took mine out because it does have a detent. Not the best detent in the world, but it holds it in there. This particular one is the S30V version. What's there not to love about the Blur, unless you can't do recurves? I understand that. Aluminum scales with the track inserts, cool folder. Next up, we have the Finch Knifeco Devil's Finger. I love the overall aesthetic of the knife. It was fairly comfortable in hand, but it's a little pricey for what it is. 130 bucks, 154 cm, contoured micarta, not the best looking. Got the shield there, wire pocket clip. It's okay. It's sliced decent, and it's not a bad knife. If you like the overall aesthetics, there's nothing wrong with it. Good action on mine. It's not a drop shut action though. Next up, we have the Serge Panchenko production slip joint M390, made by Boker, I think. I'm wearing my edge now. I just overall like the aesthetics of it. Next up, we have probably my one and only Gerber. This is the Gerber Fastball Cleaver, made in the U.S. 20 CV blade steel. You get it coated, non-coated, aluminum scales. I'll tell you what, it's a pretty comfortable knife. This one's not the worst slicer because of the cleaver shaped blade. It's not the best, but it's okay. The 20 CV held up just fine. The action's awesome on these knives. And you could get this for $100. So if you don't mind Gerber, you could get you a pretty good little EDC knife, nice and thin, lightweight. My lockup is almost at 100% though. There's something to note there. I like that they're trying at least. All right, next up we have the Concept Goblin. I just did an unboxing. I just did an unboxing for the Goblin XL. This is the first one. This is a Marshall Noble of Noble Knives collaboration. Pretty cool little small fifth pocket knife, S35VN front flipper, and that blade hole allows you to spidey flick it. Cool little knife. Two more concepts. We have the Concept Pelican EDC. I ended up liking this knife so much. I just thought it was comfortable with this little scoop right there. Very good action on mine. Drop shut action. It's a good slicer. S35VN steel. I liked it so much that I picked up the Tanto variation. And I'll tell you, I like this one better than the Tanto. It's just more of a functional blade for me. But good knives. They're a little overpriced. I think they're 170 something bucks. I think that's a little overpriced for what you're getting. All right, next up we have the Glow Rhino Reactor. This knife, I don't know. It was kind of a miss for me. The blade to handle ratio is severely off. You can see how far it goes to the hand. Doesn't go to the handle. I will say the action's good. It's a very good slicer. S35VN, but I know they wanted like 200 and something bucks for these. Yeah, like 224. That's what it was. You get small little tritium inserts in there. That's kind of their thing. It's a well-made knife. From what I was told by them through an email, that a lot of the parts were made for them by one of the overseas companies. I can't remember offhand, but good action on this. It's comfortable in hand, good slicer. Just blade to hand ratio just makes it for me. All right, next up we have the Civivi Knives McKenna in brass and 154 cm steel. This is an Elijah Isham design. Awesome little gentleman's carry knife, front flipper. It's very sleek and compact. The brass doesn't make it pretty chunky and heavy for what it is, but I still love it. This is my second one. My first one I got from Blade Show whenever they just came out. This one is G10 and their polished Damascus, their 9CR Damascus, super lightweight. The regular versions like this these are better as a gentleman's carry. So lightweight, you forget it's there. Very minimal footprint in the pocket. Deep carry pocket clip, left or right tip up carry. So there you go. Next up we have the Cold Steel Code 4. This is probably one of the best bangs for the buck. S35VN aluminum scales. I think it's like 70 bucks or 60 something bucks. I swapped the pocket clip for a Spyderco pocket clip. I used just those two screws. I think it looks a lot better and it functions better than the original. The original clip is very tight. Nice and thin scales on it, comfortable grip, smooth action. This is one you can flip out and you get that tried and true triad lock. All right, next up, probably my favorite Cold Steel to date, and that is the Cold Steel American Lawman. This is probably my fifth Lawman. I've had several. This is one in S35VN. I wish I would have kept one of my XHP ones. Just a good EDC blade. Once again, I put a Spyderco Lynch deep carry clip on it with my Ano. Very smooth action on this. It's an okay slicer. It's more of a hard use knife because these are very thick behind the edge. So if you're looking for a hard use knife in a thin, lightweight package, this is a good choice. Triad lock on this is excellent. All right, next up we have another Cold Steel. This is the Cold Steel Airlight, another good one like that Lawman. This one's in AUS 10. There you go, AUS 10A. Comfortable ergos, thin. I'd rather this pocket clip is not as strong as the Lawman's and the Code 4. Good little overall knife, very, very light. There's no liner, just G10 in there. Great little knife. All right, next up we have the Hogue Deca in the clip point variant. It's Alan Elishewitz design. Mine is wearing a transparent Knives regrind. It was a good slicer before. This is a USA made knife. Now mine's ground to like 8 thousandths behind the edge, and it is a screaming sharp. I mean, it's a laser beam, 20 CV blade steel thumb stud deployer with their Axis style lock. They made some adjustments to the original design now, and they have like a version 2 out, but good bang for the buck, good EDC knife. They also have it in this Warney with a like nightmare grind on it. You have a thicker grind back here and a higher flat, both of them flat grinds. This is a stock one, black. You can get it in a whole bunch of different variations. Elishewitz 20 CV, USA made. What is there not to love? Next up, you have the Boker Excalibur. This is one in 440C, contoured G10 scales. Very, very thin behind the edge. I think it's like 10 thousandths behind the edge. This one is a pretty good example of one. Very smooth. The lock is a little flimsy on it. It's a little thin titanium liner lock. But I always love the way how smooth they were in open and close, and how well they sliced. I also picked up the S35 VN one. This is the same knife in the carbon fiber. It's a lot thinner than this original one, and same thinness behind the edge. But I'll say, I don't know if I have bad heat treat on mine, but let's see if I can show y'all this. Probably won't be able to show y'all. I don't have enough light in here. But there's waves in the edge where this thing just crinkled, and it was just from cutting cardboard. So I don't know. I can't recommend it now because of that. Next up, we have the QSP. Was it Puffin, I think. I did some mod work to this. I kind of softened all the edges because it had a few little hot spots for me. Comfortable now. S35 in blade steel. I sharpened it up. It's been holding a decent low edge. I did the anode finish to it. I think I just did a OxyClean, and then I anode the backspacer. Next up, we have the Drop.com Dogtooth, I think it is. I'm sorry, there's too many knives in this case. This is a Brad Zinker collaboration with Mass Drop. Another nice gentleman's carry because of how sleek and thin it is. Good little slicer, good action. Deep carry pocket clip, tip up right hand carry only though. And you can still get these on Amazon. Another Zinker design, but this is a Boker. This is the Boker FR. I love the overall aesthetics of this knife. I want to get one of these custom versions. This particular one is an S35 VN. I think I got this one off of drop.com as well in one of the drops. Action's okay. The heat treat is a little soft on this one. I've sharpened it so many times, and it just doesn't hold the best edge. It's got a nice sticky edge on it right now, but it just doesn't hold it that long. So either it's had a severely burnt edge or the heat treat's soft on it. All right, next up is a Best Tech chop mod that I did. This used to be regular shrapnel, but I reshaped the blade and contoured the scales, put my anode finish on it. I think it made this knife a whole lot better. Put an A-Purpose Blades primordial clip on here when I tapped it. I had to rework the backspacer. This one wasn't the best job I did, but I like it. Super comfortable now and fidgety. All right, we got another chop mod. This is another Best Tech. This was the Best Tech. I don't remember the name. Sorry, peeps. Somebody knows, leave it down below. I reshaped the blade, added a top swedge, and then did a two-tone acid stone wash and satin flats, S35 EN. I put this weed clip, and that's the only way I could do it right now. I never got around to doing anything else with it. Life got in the way. But overall, this knife was already comfortable. Man, what was it? Is it the pterodactyl maybe? Something like that. Very smooth action. The detent is too strong. I put these thumb studs on there. It's too strong to actually use the stud. So, oh well. You win some, you lose some. Alrighty, we're going to shut it down for here. We'll wait and do these two Suns and a few other stragglers on the next video that I do with some of the budget knives, because I got to look up all these. I don't know all the names to them. So if you have any questions about anything you've seen today, feel free to ask me down in the comments. I hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day and have a great weekend. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.